Vintage Levi's is becoming more and more popular and expensive. Things that used to be like $100 became $300, and now you need to pay closer to $1,000. But you can still get high quality, true vintage Levi's jeans for pretty much the price of the modern jeans. And those vintage jeans will fit you very, very well. That's going to be in your size. The total supply of the true vintage Levi's denim is going down with every year, and prices going up. So this is your opportunity to experience what it is true vintage jeans yourself, and that opportunity is going away. So in this video, I'm gonna show you where to buy vintage Levi's, what do you need to know. I'm gonna show you a demonstration how I'm buying vintage jeans myself, so they will be in my size and they will fit me. And at the end, I'm gonna show you how to get your vintage jeans repaired by Levi's, not by some like Taylor, but actually by Levi's. And you're gonna pay something like, I don't know, I paid $10. So keep watching. In US, you can buy vintage Levi's jeans in many different places. You can buy it in a thrift store, on a flea market, in a curated shop in a fancy neighborhood. But my rule is this. If you think you're gonna buy yourself a vintage Levi's jeans in a physical location, I mean the location where you actually touch them, you are doing it wrong. Here's why. In all those places that I just described, this is vintage items, right? They're not gonna have, they're gonna have some selection, but they're probably not gonna have what you want in your size that will fit you. So that's the biggest problem. But there is another very, very big problem, is that even the price is good. You probably, it's like 98% modern junk. You need to pay so much effort. You need to go through so many things to actually find one true vintage items. And there are other, these like curated vintage shops that sell stuff, but they sell it for like multiples of the market price. And guess what? You're still not going to be able to find what you want in your size. So the only way to find and buy what you want is actually these like big markets, kind of like eBay. So I personally like eBay, and I'm gonna show you a demonstration how I'm buying vintage jeans on eBay, what I'm looking for, and how to make sure that that's my size that will fit me. But you can use the same principles on Etsy, on all these other fancy stores. Before you actually start buying jeans and we go to demonstration, there are a few things that you need to know. For example, fakes, right? So in US, you probably are not going to be able to find fake. Maybe in different countries, there are more fakes. Still, like if something looks odd to you, something looks unfamiliar, just pass on it. What is actually a danger is two things: Levi's vintage collection and modern jeans. So further, you will see a lot of modern jeans that sellers would claim they are vintage, and it could be for different reasons. So first of all, maybe sellers don't know, or maybe sellers have ill intent and they want to sell something modern as a vintage to charge. And also Levi's vintage collection. So Levi's was making replicas of their vintage jeans for very, very long time. And those replicas, they are not fake, they are made by Levi's, but those are modern jeans, replicas of the old vintage jeans, and those replicas are very, very good. So first of all, you probably want to educate yourself on how to authenticate Levi's, vintage Levi's, and how to date vintage Levi's. But I can imagine that a lot of my viewers are not not gonna rush into the education. You still need to do education for yourself. But I'm gonna give you two very, very simple rules that will keep you out of trouble. So if you're not spending like, I know, $1,000 or many hundreds of dollars on your jeans, those rules will keep you out of trouble. So rule number one. So all modern jeans, including Levi's vintage collection, will have, like, if you look at the care tag, so this is a jacket, but you're gonna see this book. You're gonna see this book with these like silky tags and like bunch of things written here, right? So if you see this book, that item is not vintage. It's a modern item, even if it looks like vintage, because it could be a Levi's vintage collection. Again, even if seller says it's vintage, it's not vintage if you see that book. And the rule number two, the item that you are buying should have some indication that this item was produced in the United States. Again, this rule is not very good. There are some, I have jeans that are made in Guatemala, they are actually true vintage, but just forget about those made in Guatemala or other countries. If you're gonna buy item which is made in US and that doesn't have that book, then it's true vintage. And so for example, here, if you look at the patch, this says made in USA. So this is number one. And number two, if you look at these care tags, they look very different to that book that I showed. And these care tags are different. So Levi's had different periods. They did these care tags differently. But the very important thing here that it says over here, I'm going to show you the close-up. It basically says made in USA. That's what you want. That's what will keep you out of trouble. Okay, guys, so we are going to eBay, but first you need to go and find modern pants that fit you well. This could be jeans or just pants, and find the size of them. So for example, these are my chinos that it's actually, they actually don't fit me that well, but we're gonna use them in this exercise. So we see this is 33 by 32. Okay, so now back to eBay. So we say we look for vintage. Okay, I'm gonna explain this. We're looking for vintage Levi's jeans, USA, because we want we want sellers to indicate that they were made in USA. We want to exclude LVC, so we do a minus LVC. And also some people say vintage Levi's clothing, so we want to exclude clothing, so we do minus clothing. And actually we're going to find much less jeans than this. So what are the filters we want to put? Here we want to say that it's US only, as I told you. We're gonna avoid a lot of problems if we're gonna select a US only. We wanna have returns accepted, because I mean things can go wrong, right? So we would definitely want to do returns accepted. And now we're gonna enter as size that we want to find jeans in. So our waist size was 33 and inseam was 32. Okay, and now we see that there are only 42 jeans, so it's not as good, but there are actually jeans that might work. Now we need to check every jeans that are listed here. We need to check for the things that I told you. So we actually gonna start with the size. And here's the, so let's open these 517s. So let's look at the size. So he says these are 35 by 32, but our filter actually picked it up. So these jeans started as 35 by 32, but you always want to see that the seller actually measured jeans, because vintage jeans always shrink because people wear them, they wash them, they dry them on high heat, they wash them again, they wear them again on high heat, so they shrink. So this size will never be true. So let's see if he actually measured them. And we see that yes, he measured them. So he said waist is 16.5 and we multiply by 2, and that gives us 33 that he listed over here. And inseam is almost 32, and he listed 32 as we actually want. So we know that he verify them. Sometimes you actually can see people have a ruler over here, but the main thing, make sure that seller actually measured the jeans. So okay, so size is okay. Now let's check that care tags. We want to avoid that book that I showed you, right? So okay, so he shows the care tag, and that's a very different, as you can see, care tag than that book. That's actually one of the this care tag is called a red batwing logo, and it's not silky. There is no book here. That's what we want to see. And also we want to check that it's actually, it doesn't just say it's made in USA. We want to see some indication that it was made in USA, and we see on care tag it says made in USA. Okay, so this is good. Actually over here it does not say that it was made in USA, but it's okay. We saw that it was made here. So we verified that size, the seller actually measured the size. We verified that there is no this care tag book, silky book, and we verified that it was made in USA. So these jeans are okay, they are true vintage. Any jeans, no matter how high the quality, even like the best vintage jeans, they will eventually rip. So they will need to be repaired. And what you probably don't know is that Levi's launched this thing they call tailor shop. So you can go to their website and you can actually filter by tailor shop, and like a lot of Levi's stores, they actually have the tailor shop inside. So you can just bring your vintage jeans that need repair, and you can give it to them. You can tell what's wrong. They will take a look. They will give you an estimate. So for example, this pair from 90s, it had this hole for the button a little bit ripped. So I brought it there. They gave me an estimate, $20. And they told me to wait something like 5 days. So I came back in 5 days, and my bill was actually not $20 but $10. And they did very good job repairing this hole. And yeah, now I have my Levi's item repaired by Levi's. Think about it. Okay, so if you guys enjoyed this video, so this channel is about vintage watches, but I don't know, maybe I will make more videos about vintage Levi's. Let me know in comments, and if you guys want, I can make more videos about true vintage Levi's. So thank you for watching. Bye.